please give it up for Miss Wendy Hyatt on Lights and Sound. And on the camera, Mr. Steve Alquist. And we cannot forget about the good folks down at Empire Loan who have sponsored this show every month for 10 years. Direct your attention to the band. Sitting in tonight for us, Mr. Tommy Castle on saxophone, Mr. Joe Potenza on the bass, Mr. Johnny Cody on drums, and now the monkey you've all been waiting for. He's sitting in the corner tickling the ivory, the host, director, and creator of the show, Mr. Keith McNutt.
God damn it, we're excited. Somebody handed this to me in a bar, which is maybe the best present I've ever received by just walking into a bar. I walked in to get a drink and I was handed a roll of foil. Because, as it was pointed out to me, 10 years is aluminum, traditionally. So if anybody needs anything wrapped, see me after the show. Anything that needs to be put in an oven and wrapped. We are so excited to be here. Just really quickly, I just want to tell you the story about how this show got created. So 10 and a half years ago, I had a studio here on the second floor at ASU 20, and I was on the board of directors. And so, in the beginning days of ASU 20, just to school you a little bit, the board of directors meetings were like 10 people, a lot of them were high, and the big decision on the table was like, do we make t-shirts or do we not make t-shirts? And I was like, I can be on this board. I make t-shirts. But then over time, and then they started talking about like real estate acquisition and fucking historic tax credits, and it was like a solid 6 years where I didn't know what the fuck anyone was talking about at board meetings. And they'd hand papers out to me, and I would it was like, you know, being in a class that you're like not smart enough to take, you just get the papers and you're like, yep. I don't know what any of this shit is. Budget shortfall, what the fuck? And I would sit at board meetings trying desperately to understand what was happening, and I had to admit eventually that I didn't know. So, and I wasn't doing as much work in my studio as I had been, because then I had internet at home, thanks Bob Vennerbeck, and then I was doing a lot of work at home. And so I called Umberto Crenca, who at the time was he's the recently retired artistic director, but at the time he was the artistic director and a dear friend, and I said, please, just help me, like I need we went out and had a coffee, and I was like, I need a new way to plug in, and I don't know what it is, and it's not your job, but I'm making it your job. And he called me back an hour later, and he said, we have a budget to have somebody curate a show for a year, and we're hoping that you will do a cabaret, because ASU 20 has traditionally had a cabaret. There's no cabaret right now. And so I, yes, and so I sent a proposal, and then they accepted it the next day, and it was boom, really quickly, and then it was like, oh fuck. I have to do it. But I looked back at the proposal that I sent him this week, and it's this show, and what's amazing is how much this show has stayed true to that proposal. I just said, I want sketch comedy, I want my band in the house, I want to host it and direct it, and I want to pick who gets to be on the stage. And that's pretty much it, and so they let me do it, and I do want to give so many shout-outs tonight. A huge shout-out to 3 of the original Sparkling Beatniks. Like, the very first phone call that I made was to Richard Goulis, and he's here. The second phone call I made was to my nephew, Eric Fulford, who was attending college. And then the third phone call I made was to my dear friend Hannah Devine, who was 16 at the time. And I was like, please help me do this show. Please. And then we got a couple more people, Ronnie White and Mari Aaron Jones, and we formed the show and put it together really quickly. And then that year, we did the show for that year, and we didn't know what the fuck we were doing, and everyone was flying by the seat of their pants. But then after that year, then the money to curate the show was like all gone, and then AS20 was like, all gone money for you. And but then everybody in this show, the band, everybody, the cast, which had grown by that time, and our stage manager, Nikki Mariani, Nikki Mariani, ladies and gentlemen. Jesus Christ, does anyone work harder than that woman? I don't think so. So the show had grown, and we just kind of looked at each other and were like, we can't stop doing this show. And Empire Loan had been sponsoring us, and they continued to sponsor us, and all of you guys showing up month after month have made the show endure for a solid decade. So we're super proud of that, and I want to give a big shout out to all of you for coming month after month and being the best audience in this town. And one last thing, one big more shout out to Jeff Keithline from Empire Loan for, again, just funding this show. It means a lot to us. And so, right now, as a special treat for you...
one super quick.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know if everybody knows this, but it's also Keith's birthday. I don't want you to worry that we're going to interrupt the show. We really want to wait. No, we can't sing that here. Sorry, it's not a public domain. Sorry.